everybody, and welcome to today's video in which we are going to UVW unwrap this chair that we created in the previous two videos. So in case you want to see how this thing was modeled, go ahead and watch the previous two videos. Alright, for this video I'm actually going to do the UVW unwrapping in Unfold 3D, and the main reason behind that is that I honestly, to God, hate unwrapping in 3ds Max because it tends to like to crash on me a lot, especially when you're unwrapping like high poly models. Like in this case, I'm rolling around with 169,000 polygons model. Now, generally, you wouldn't want to actually unwrap this thing at this size. You'd probably want to go ahead and simplify it, but if we're going to be using Unfold 3D as I am, this thing shouldn't be much of a problem. Alright, so in order to get this thing prepped up for unwrapping, I'm going to select it. So make a selection on the whole thing. Make sure you select everything. Go over here, export, and export selected. Name the chair, so let's go bar chair. And call it raw. Click on save. Alright, this is going to give me this export options. In this case, pretty much I don't want to do anything to it because textures coordinates are gonna be created inside Unfold. So I'm just going to hit export without changing pretty much anything here. So export, gonna wait for a second until it exports and click done. So next thing, let's start up Unfold 3D. Once you start Unfold 3D, what you want to do is go to Files, go to Load OBJ, find wherever your exported object is and hit Open. This thing is going to do the calculations and bring it in here. All right. Awesome. So once we have the model here, we can proceed to unwrap the whole thing. Now I've actually done a video on how to work with Unfold 3D. So if you haven't used this software previously, you might want to check out that video and see how this thing works. All right, so here what I want to do is start by unwrapping each individual object. So I'm going to start off with the leg. So I'm going to select the leg element and I'm going to hit on isolate. This is going to only show me where only that object. So since I want to select this thing, well, I'm going to go and select these edges there. Control L will make a loop selection on those edges. Hold on, Control select, Control L again, and one more time for this side. So now once I have that selected, I'm going to press C. That is going to cut out that bottom part. I'm going to do the same thing on this side as well. So Control L C, get it there. So Control L and C. All right, so that's going to allow me to cut out those two base elements there, but I do want to add in a few more edges. So select that edge. On the front, you select this edge and you rotate it around, select that one here, and lastly this one. So with all of those edges selected, now we can go in Control L. That is going to go all across the leg, and Control C. So by pressing this, all right, awesome. So I'm going to actually hit on Unfold the button here. This is going to take all of that and try to straighten it out. In this case, now I'm going to hit on Optimize, try to straighten it out a bit more, and this is more or less what I get. Now here's the thing. When you're modeling something like this and then you want to unwrap it, In this case, if I leave the texture unwrapped like this will be technically correct, but there's going to be a bit of a problem. Let me show you what the problem is. In order to see this better, I'm going to go to Files and hit on Load User Texture. Here, I'm going to choose one of my textures that I have for wood, so seamless wood. By doing that, I'm actually now I can go and click on this button, Custom Texture, and it's going to give me that texture look over here. All right, here is the problem. If I do that thing as it is, you're going to notice something. On this side, it's not actually flowing as it should be, because this thing, the way this thing is made, is just one straight piece of wood that is kind of bent. So we want to have this thing follow the curve. In order to make it follow the curve, what I can do here while I'm still in Unfold 3D is select this edge over here and this one over there. Click Control L, and that is going to select both of those lines. I'm going to click on this button over here where it says Edge Horizontal. Now what that thing is going to do is, once I hit Optimize, it's going to try and optimize that thing to follow that horizontal constraint. I can further do that with the Unfold brush. So click and go something like this. There we go. Don't worry that it's kind of stretching out to be a bit larger. We can fix that easily. All right, so now you can see that even though this thing is stretching a bit over here, and it's probably not the ideal orientation, I should probably put it on something like this. But if you put it something like this, now you can actually see what I'm talking about. You no longer have any issues, and the wood is taking that turn as it should be. All right, so let's do the same thing for these elements over there. So again, just select the ones on the corners. That one over here. That one, this one, that one, and this one. Again, Control L will select the length of those. Press the edge horizontal. Move them over here. Optimize them. All right, it's working just fine. Manually try to do the unfold brush, then relax brush, and this is going to give us a nice result, or more or less something that we can use. So I'm going to take this thing, put it like so, select everything here. Now click on this thing where it says Island Rescale and hit on Back Translate. This thing is going to put them into the 0 to 1 UV space, something like that. Now if I want to get this thing even more clean, I can probably get all of those edges at the end like that, and the one on this end here as well. There we go. Loop and optimize, unfold. All right, this might be a bit of an issue since I rotated them around. I should probably use this vertical, all right, like that. So now when I hit unfold, it should, and optimize, it should help me with getting a better look. There we go. All right, so let's, or not. All right. Anyways, we just want to get these things to be straight so we can continue on to the next piece of the chair. So I'm gonna hit on show. And let's continue with the other leg. Or better yet, I'm actually gonna go ahead and do the other leg on my own, because it's actually gonna just do the same exact thing that I just did on this thing. So let's continue on to the other things that we haven't done already. So select both of these elements. I'm going to isolate them both. Now, since these are very simple boxes, what I can do here is simply go and select that edge, scroll down, select this edge. I can probably even go and select that one and then try to cut it, but it really doesn't make any sense spending the time, so just cut like that. We do need to add in some seams, so I'm going to try add in just one. I can probably cut this thing into 4 pieces if I want, but since I'm going to have some long stripes from the legs, I think I can squeeze in or get away with having some longer stripes of UV spaces here as well. So over here, the same thing. Let's just get closer so I can see how this thing is. Like that. Loop, cut. Awesome. Now, I'm going to hit on Unfold, and Unfold 3D is going to do everything on its own. I really don't have to do much there. So move this thing to the side, move this thing over there. Let's just make this thing go this way. Move this thing here, and this thing, I'm actually seeing a bit of a problem there. So let's go over it with our brush, hit it with the optimize brush, and it's giving us a bit of an issue. So no problem, we can do that same thing that we previously did. We can select the corner edges like there, loop, and make this thing edge vertical. Alright, so now when we optimize, we should get, yep, like I said, we should get this thing straightened out. There we go. After a few run-ins with the optimize brush, we get those two things straightened out. All right, great. So I'm going to select these and just move them up to here so they're not in the way. All right, awesome. So next thing, I want to go and unwrap both of the cushions. So this is actually a very easy to unwrap. And the way that I would do it is I wouldn't cut into it at all, because we have a cut on the bottom. I can probably, if I want to distress this, go and make a cut over here, but it's going to leave me with a seam that I'm going to have to deal with later. But in this case, since we have a seating place, and it's only logical that you're going to get some natural stretching here because this thing is going to be used. So if we just go and hit on the unfold as it is, it's actually going to give us a pretty decent unwrap like it is. So straight off the bat, we get a pretty decent unwrap for the backrest and the back seat. As you can see, we have some stretching here, but that is going to be normal, or what we can expect for this thing. So, like I said, very lucky for us. We don't have to do pretty much anything else. I'm going to show everything back. Now what I want to do is select the back plate metal, the bar there, and this one on the bottom. So I'm going to isolate those three. And again, this thing is a very simple just a cylinder. So loop, cut, take one on the bottom, loop and cut, and it's pretty much more or less done. This thing is a bit more Tricky, but not that much. So just select these edges, loop and cut. And again, since this is another cylinder, what we do is just go in here, select one of these edges, loop and cut, and that should help us with unwrapping that thing. This, again, we can deal with just unwrapping it without actually doing any cuts. So I'm going to hit on unfold. It's going to do the calculations and give me 2 long stripes. So this one and this one. And this thing is the back plate that we were talking about. And these are the 2 cap holes. All right, now I want to select the edge on this thing and this thing. Same with this and this. Loop, make them horizontal. Optimize them both. Actually, I'm going to select both of these. Now, manually, I'm going to go over with the unfold brush. Make sure they are straight. Relax. And more or less, this thing is done. So put them to the side and show. And the last thing that we're missing is, well, all of these buttons. Now for the buttons, they're gonna be a bit of a drag to unwrap simply because they're numerous. So let's select all of them so I can see what's going on. That one, this one, a few more over here. That one, and 4 more at the bottom here. Now the thing here is that you can just model one of these elements and then unwrap it and clone it around, so it's actually going to be taking up the same exact UV space, but in this case I just want them to have unique UV space, and it's really not that hard to unwrap. The easiest way to unwrap these bolts is going to be to simply go in, select one. Let's start with the top one. Select just this one edge over here. So loop, cut, select one in the back, loop and cut. We're going to have some distortion, but it's going to unwrap pretty decent. If this was any other element that would have been seemed better, I would probably go in and add another cut in here, because you generally don't want to have unwrap going at a 90-degree angle in continuing, because you're going to get some issues in stretching. But in this case, since this is a very, very minor detail and it's going to be covered by other geometry, we don't really care, and we can get away with doing something like this. So again, one cut at the corner, one cut in here, and cut. Another thing that you should know is that when I was modeling this thing, I did say that I want to have this thing at a certain angle and not at a 90-degree angle with which you would get with a straight extrude, simply because now when we are unwrapping it like this, it's gonna have just a bit less of a distortion. Otherwise it would have been a bit of a problem to get this thing unwrapped. And not a problem, but it would take more time. And we prefer to do things more optimal. So let's select this thing. All right, just so you don't have to watch me do the same thing like 15 times, I'm gonna pause the video here and I'll be back as soon as I'm done with unwrapping the rest of these bolts. And a few minutes later, I have all of these unwrapped. So I'm gonna hit on unfold. It's going to do the calculations and spit out the result of our unfold. Here, in, as we can see, looking great. So select everything, scale it, and put it in back translate. All right, awesome. Put this thing to the side, show everything. And the only thing that it's missing is this leg. So like I said, I'm going to do this thing again quickly off camera, and I'll be back as soon as I'm done for the final pack. And as soon as I have this thing unwrapped as well, now I have everything unwrapped. So what I want to do here is select all of the elements that I just unwrapped, hit on the island rescale button. That is going to make sure everything gets the same amount of textile density, and then hit on the back translate. This is going to put everything within the 0 to 1 UV space. Now here's the thing though, we have a lot of texture density here that is not used, and since everything is going to be wood, it's not going to be a problem for these sides over here, or even this element here. But the thing is that this one and this one, we might actually use either leather or some sort of tapestry. So let's try and get them a bit more textile density. So I'm going to select both of them. I'm going to scale them outwards so they get more. There we go. Again, scale it up like this. All right, awesome. So select them all, hit on pack translate. This is going to give me a crappier look, so I'm actually happy with how this thing looks. So when I have it to this point, what I'm going to do is go to File and Save OBJ. This thing is going to take all of the data that we just unwrapped and just override it on the basic OBJ that we exported. So now that we're done with this, let's go back to Max and see how this all of this just falls back together. Inside 3ds Max, we are here with the model that we initially had, so I'm going to select everything in here and delete it. Go to my menu over here and hit on the import button. Select the element that we or the object that we exported and worked on. So raw, import as edible poly on, triangulate polygons is on, import from file is fine. Texture coordinate, as you can see, it's green, so that means we have UV unwrap. So import this thing, and we say get the same exact chair back in Max. Now here's the thing, if we select a chair and we put a edit unwrap UVW and we hit the open UV editor, we're gonna get everything that we did inside Unfold 3D translate well into 3ds Max. All right, so like this. So this means this chair is more or less finished. We have unwrapped this chair, and we can use it for rendering, or we can even put it inside Unreal, and this thing will hold its form. And anyways, I hope you guys had fun and you managed to learn something new with this video. If you have any questions, leave them below. I will meet you in the comment section of the video. If you enjoyed this video, then please click the like button, and if you're not subscribed, now is a great time to do so. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.